What connects me to the Palouse? It's a good question, and one I didn't really understand until this past year. How did I, a kid who grew up around the Puget Sound and spent so much time around the water, end up here? I'm pretty sure it started with that one week as a kid in a little place called Winona. There's nothing that special about the place. I mean, it's so small you can't even really call it a town. Google Maps even calls it a neighborhood. But to me, it represents everything I love about Eastern Washington. The environment, the wildlife, that feeling you get looking at the train tracks or the warm pink skies that fill the horizon at sunset. It's one of the most familiar places I've ever seen. It just feels right. Winona was built on railroads sometime in the 1890s or early 1900s. It began as a camp for workers on the Oregon Railroad and Navigation Company line. The earliest recorded building was a post office in 1891. The cemetery shows markers dating back to 1896. The town was named after one of the surveyor's hometowns, Winona, Minnesota. It grew much like other towns at the time, such as St. John and Thornton. Railroad work drove everything, especially grain exports. Reportedly, more than 600 people lived in Winona by 1910. But around that same time, Winona's luck started to show. The local bridge was heavily damaged by a flood in March of 1910. That bridge, which spans the Palouse River, has been a problem since the beginning. Industry followed, including a mill in the riverbank. It stood for several years before catching fire and burning down in 1918. It was never rebuilt. Through the years, what happened to so many small towns happened to Winona: consolidation of services. Suddenly, people started using the post office in Endicott. Kids went to school there. Even rail distribution, the town's lifeblood, shifted to Endicott. Today, you can see the difference in just a glance. Grain silos towering over you in Endicott. And a lone building in Winona that looks like it could fall over in the wind. Unfortunately, that's a story for a lot of smaller agricultural towns in eastern Washington. And it looked the exact same when I visited in the summer of 2017. I was only there for a week, but I gave that week a lot of credit for why I chose Washington State University. It wasn't a vacation. In fact, it was kind of the opposite. My family was moving my grandma into a nursing home and clearing out her old house. She had Alzheimer's. My great-grandma could no longer look after her. It was time. In between the piles of stuff and the trips to Goodwill, I got to see Winona. The waving grass on the hills, the rolling Palouse, the rivers and streams. I even got to see some cows. What sticks out to me most was playing wiffle ball with my cousins. Felt like something out of The Natural, or Field of Dreams. I know it didn't really look like that, but it sure felt like it to 13-year-old me. When I visited WSU for the first time after I applied, I saw it in the same light. Despite the snow on the ground, the drive through the Palouse and into the heart of Pullman felt exactly like what I needed. I felt comfortable. I could picture myself going for a jog next to the wheat fields. It all felt so similar to that summer. And I could see my grandma. Some people say Winona is a ghost town, but I don't see it that way. There's still people here. Not many, but it's not gone until everyone's gone. The Winona fire in 2023 reminded people of that. On August 19, 2023, a 2,500-acre wildfire destroyed the 197-foot wooden railroad bridge over Rebel Flat Creek. The short-line railroad was still active and handled 2,600 rail cars a year. Not anymore. It was a major blow to local agriculture. Everything had to be trucked, raising costs and straining farmers' pockets. Suddenly, Winona was all over the news. Washington State's Department of Transportation moved quickly to rebuild. It took just 2 months and nearly $3 million to construct a new 210-foot steel and concrete bridge. It's a vital piece of the puzzle for agriculture in the region, just like it's a vital piece for my identity, why I feel so close to Wazoo, to the Palouse, and why I chose Boise for the next chapter of my life, because it just feels like home.